Hi everyone, my name is Donnie Lowy from Closeout So I'm very excited. I recently bought out the contents of a children's clothing store, and that got me thinking a lot about, the fun, the opportunity of starting your own store. I know today there's a lot of competition from online retailers such as Amazon and eBay, as a marketplace, but I still believe that there is a strong opportunity to sell, from a brick and mortar, from an offline location. But as you can see behind me, right, these are the contents of a store that didn't exactly work out. So it is definitely a challenging situation. Now, I can, just share with you my ideas, my experiences. And since, I sell to stores and I also buy out stores when they go out of business, I've seen both sides of the equation. I've seen the success and I've seen, unfortunately, the not successful times. So the first thing that I would recommend is when you start a business, calculate your expenses realistically and also be realistic about your sales revenue. You need to factor in not just the cost of rent, not just the cost of any employees you might have, but additional costs such as the electricity bill, buying shopping bags, buying boxes, and so on, buying supplies. And then when you want to figure out how much you're going to sell, you need to actually go out into the marketplace, go visit other stores, walk around shopping districts, speak to your family, speak to your friends, find out how much are they actually spending and how much can they realistically spend, and that'll give you a rough estimate of what you can expect to sell. Number two, you need to really ensure that you have the right merchandise for your customers. If your customers are looking for, designer, boutique label, fashion, children's clothing, then that's what you need to have. If your customers are looking for the most economical merchandise and they're not looking for a brand name, they're not looking for a designer name, they're just looking for inexpensive clothing, then that's what you have to find for them. At the same time, it's very important. I know you have to be careful with the following piece of advice, but I do my best to follow it in my own business. And it's very important to be willing to take a chance on merchandise that you can make money on. Now, for sure, do all of your research. Make sure that you are making the best possible decision, right? You need to make the decision on your own. Having said that, I think it's important, and I guess I should speak to myself. So, Donnie Lowy, it's important that you always are willing to look for new merchandise. Now, why? Why should I follow this advice and why other people should consider following this advice? Because you need new merchandise to attract people. If you have the same merchandise all the time, people are going to lose interest. Even a supermarket, right, that knows that the majority of what it sells are the staples, bread, milk, cheese, chicken, vegetables, fruit, and so on. If you go to the supermarket, you will see that they often have new categories of merchandise. They will have new items. Why? Because they know they need to continuously work to attract customers to their store, and they need to keep the interest of those customers. So that's a reason why you should also look for closeout merchandise. You might, for instance, come to my warehouse and say, wow, you know what? I really need this, this blouse for girls. Or you might say, no, you know what? I don't necessarily need it, but if I buy it at a low enough price and I market it and I put a really good price on it, I'll get customers excited to come to my store. Now, here's an interesting thing. This is very important with retail. Many retailers have what they call loss leaders. They'll sell merchandise at cost or below cost just to attract customers to the store. I don't think you have to, rush to do that, and especially when you're starting a new store. But I do think it's important to have merchandise whose primary focus is going to be to attract people to your store. So, with example of this blouse, right? Let's say you bought, 100 units of children's clothing from me, and you paid, I currently have it on sale, so let's say you paid $3.99 for this blouse, and it retails for, let's see if we can find here, the original retail, can you see, is $55.85. So you buy it for $3.99, and you put it as a closeout for $5.99, right? So it's $2 more than you paid for it. I hope I did that math right. So now people are really excited because it's a $55 blouse for $6. They're excited about it. They'll come to your store. If someone buys it, great, you'll make money on it. If someone comes and they don't buy it for any reason, it's not the right size, the color, but let's say they really like it, but they decided that no, they need something bigger for their kids or smaller for their kids. But once they come into your store, if they spend money, they spend $100, $200, $500 buying other merchandise from you, then you still came out ahead because you sold merchandise. And if you're making money on that merchandise, then you made a profit. So you always want to have closeouts that are going to attract people, and also find the right type of closeouts. There's so much merchandise out there. If you're ready to buy merchandise, it should be merchandise that your customers are generally interested in. Another thing, when you have a store, you really want to make sure that you illustrate the qualities of the merchandise that you're selling, and display the original retail values, your sales price, and guide people, through the selection of the merchandise. If you have, for instance, I know this really nice skirt over here, you want to, give your customers information, what makes a skirt, popular, what's, the colors. Again, the colors are really nice, you just show them even they could see it, but you still want to show them different features that it might have, the colors, the brand, go online, show them how popular those brands are, and, you want to just, have a conversation. I know it's called salesmanship, but it's also, called educating the customer. If you remember Sims, some of you might remember Sims. They were around when I was still in college. So they were a retailer, and I believe their logo was an educated consumer is the best consumer. And I think that makes sense, because if someone comes to my warehouse and I just show them merchandise, I don't tell them the value of it, then they themselves are not going to have a good enough reason to be excited to buy it. But if I take my time and I explain to them why the merchandise is so valuable, why it's so attractive, why it can sell so well, then I'm educating them just as they educated me many times, and then hopefully they'll make a decision to buy the merchandise. And it's the same thing in a store. You want to educate your customers. You want to explain to them what do you have available, whether it's the skirts, the blouses, the dresses, and so on. You always want to explain to people why your merchandise is so valuable and why they should consider buying it. And another thing when having a store is take down all the contact information of your customers and your prospective customers. I do that as well. I know many of you are on my email list. Many of you, I call them up. It's very important, because someone could come shopping to your store. They might not buy at that time, but they might want to come later. You have to remind them, or they might buy something from you, and then you also want to remind them, especially if you're having a really good sale, or even better, if you have merchandise that they're specifically looking for, then you want to contact them. You want to have the ability to contact them to let them know what you have available. All right, my website is closeoutexplosion.com. If you have any other ideas or comments, I would love to hear them. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day.